Hello everyone and welcome to my November book haul. I am not expecting any more books in this month. Let me double check because we have today and tomorrow. I'm filming this on October 30th. Oh yeah, I'm not expecting any books until Friday, which is a book that I have selected for 2025's Autism Reads. So, oh, and I left a book I needed upstairs, but that's for the Autism Reads too. Okay, this is all I'm holding up in the thumbnail, and I have a lot more books off to the side. So these are just the books that I want to tell you about first because I'm planning on hopefully getting to these ones in November. So two of these are on my November Catwalk TBR, and that is Adulthood is a Gift. And this is a nonfiction, and this was written and illustrated of Sarah Anderson. And this is book number 5 in the Sarah Scribbles collection. I hope there will be more. And it's just poking fun at life. Expectations versus reality. What's this one I just passed? Small pets versus big pets. Things like that. What it's like to have group chats, etc. Just poking fun at life. So yeah, so I'm hoping to get to that one in November. The other one that's on my Catwalk TBR was for a punishment, which was to choose the smallest book on your shelf. And so I'm going with this one, which is 112 pages, and this is No Place to Hide by Harper Ashley and Ren Hawthorne. And this actually came in a book box. This was not a subscription. This is one that was an additional, like, to purchase outside of any subscription. And this is going to be a horror romance, thriller romance, sexually explicit. Yeah. And there is no synopsis on this. It is signed by the authors there. This was in the Twisted Desires book box. I do have, that you will see later, 2 additional books that came with this one from different authors. I like the fact what is different about this one is the pages are blue and the writing is black on this one. Except for on that page, those started the chapter pages where there's also an image, and then the writing is blue. So, or excuse me, the writing is white. So I'm not sure what this is about. I just know it's going to be sexually explicit. So yeah. So it's a romance of some kind. Now these other 2 books are for some readathons. This first one, I don't remember what the second one is. I think this first one is for The Great Bookish Bake Off, which takes place in November. But this book is Rosaline Palmer Takes the Cake by Alexis Hall. The title and the book cover, I'm like, I want my own copy, and I really want to get to this one in November. So this one, it does say, in the scrumptiously tender, laugh-out-loud novel, single mother Rosaline Palmer is determined to bake it until she makes it to the top of Britain's favorite feel-good baking show. Following the recipe is key to a successful bake. Rosaline Palmer has always lived by those rules. Well, except for when she dropped out of college to raise her daughter, Emile. Now, with a paycheck as useful as grease-proof paper and house crumbling faster than biscuits and tea, she's teetering on the edge of financial disaster. But where there's a whisk, there's a way, and Rosaline has just landed a spot on the nation's most beloved baking show. Winning the prize money would give her daughter the life she deserves, and Rosaline is determined to stick to the instructions. However, more than collapsing trifles stand between Rosaline and the sweet, sweet victory. Suave, well-educated, and parent-approved Alan Pope knows all the right moves to sweep her off her feet. But it's shy electrician Harry Dobson who makes Rosaline question her long-held beliefs about herself, her family, and her desires. Rosaline fears falling for Henry is a guaranteed recipe for disaster. Yet, as the competition and the ovens heat up, Rosaline starts to realize the most delicious bakes come from the heart. That sounds so cute. Okay, and I don't remember which readathon this one is a group book for. This author, I love the books underneath her pen name. I've tried one book under her actual name. May not have just been the right time. I am willing to try it again. But I have been intrigued by this book mostly because of the cover. And so I'm hoping I will like this one. And the author is Seanan McGuire, and the book I am talking about is Endgame middle game. It says, meet Roger, skilled with words, languages come easily to him. He instinctively understands how the world works through the power of story. Meet Dodger, his twin. Numbers are her world, her obsession, her everything. All she understands, she does so through the power of math. Roger and Dodger aren't exactly human, though they don't realize it. They aren't exactly gods either. Not entirely, not yet. Meet Reed, skilled in the alchemical arts, like his progenitor before him. Reed created Dodger and her brother. He's not their father, not quite, but he has a plan. To raise the twins to the highest power, to ascend with them and claim their authority as his own. Godhood is attainable, pray it isn't attained. It does sound really good. The one I tried underneath Seanan McGuire was book number 1 in the Wayward series. I don't think I just was in the right mind for that. So I would like to try to reread that. But this is a group read for one of the readathons. I just don't remember which. There's like 5 or 6 of them that I want to casually try to participate in the month of November. So we'll see how it goes. But these are the books. So 2 of them are from my Catwalk TBR game, and then 2 are group reads for the readathons. These books are all from book boxes. So move these off to the side. Okay. So these 3 is a trilogy. So it's a whole set, and it's from probably Smut, I want to say. So yeah, these ones are from probably Smut. Now, I was doing the Smut Slut book box, which was $40 a month. You get a shirt and the book. I am to the point that I have decided to cancel that subscription. I love it. I will go back to it at some point. I'm just canceling because my closet is overflowing. I could go down, but I really wanted to switch back to the Romance Reveal book box. So I decided to cancel the Probably Smut one to go back to the Romance Reveal. But eventually, I plan to add this one back on. So there's no synopsis on the back. This is just part of a trilogy. I will read the quote that's on the back. It says, and this book is A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. And this is book number 1 in the Sacred Stones trilogy. Whether you know it or not, Arwen, there is a wild strength inside of you. Remember that. You are enough. Book number 2, and the book box only came with book number 1, but they did release that you could buy books number 2 and 3 separately so that you have a matching set, which is what I wanted and what I did. And they're all by Kate Golden. And this one is book number 2, and this is A Promise of Perdot, I'm guessing. I could be saying that wrong. I'm in love with you, desperately so. The way those sailors lost at sea love the bird that guides them home. And then number 3 in the Sacred Stones trilogy is A Reign of Rose. All I can promise you is myself, my love, my respect, my devotion. Every day that we have together and every day that exists beyond then. Okay, and the next 2 were also in the Twisted Desires. So you did see earlier in this video one of them. And then these are the other 2 that came in the Twisted Desires spooky box is what it was. One of these does have a synopsis on the inside. And I'm wondering if it's this one. Yes, this one does have the synopsis. So this one is Carving for Kara by Dana Leanne and Melissa McSherry. And then the back has a quote. It does say, I'm going to fucking ruin you. And watching you break for me is going to be the most beautiful fucking show, Little Nightmare. So this one I will read the synopsis of. It says, he is my predator and I am his prey. Tonight he is starving for a taste of what's his. It was Halloween, my favorite time of the year. I had my dream job as a tattoo artist, a loyal best friend, and an ex who happily tended to my needs without complicating our arrangement with feelings. Everything was going great until Devil's Night, when the masked man watched me from the shadows like a predator stalking his next meal. And that's what I was, his prey. Like any natural-born predator, he was bloodthirsty, stalking his claim to me before I could see the face behind his mask. He wasn't afraid to kill for a bite of what he craved, even if it meant shedding the blood of those closest to me. Once he had a taste, he hungered for more, and the more he needed it, the more I wanted to give it to him. And the third book that came in the spooky box from Twisted Desires is Unhallowed by Shea Ruby. There is no synopsis in this one. Let me just make sure I didn't miss it. Yeah, no, there's no synopsis. There is a playlist, though, long playlist. And then there's a letter from the author on the inside that talks about this being dark, and so to definitely look up content and trigger warnings. And then the quote on the back says, "I'll tear your heart out with my fucking teeth and make you love me." Okay, let's go with these three. These ones were also from Probably Smut, and one is a male-male romance. And there's no synopsis with these ones either, so I'll just show you this along with the name. And these ones were blind date with a book. They have recently done another blind date with a book. I do believe they are all sold out on those ones now. There were 4 options for this next round. I'm not sure when those ones will ship though. But the male-male one that came with a blind date is Disciplinary Action by Only James. The quote on the back says, "You belong to me tonight. You're mine. Just mine." And this is a taboo one because it's a professor and a student. I think it's a college professor though. But still, it is that dynamic. Okay, next up is Drive Me Crazy by Carly Robin. And this one is a race car romance. She's not my better half. She's my whole fucking heart. And then the third one that came in the Probably Smut blind date with the book is Twisted Glass by Savannah Ryland. This one, there is no quote on the back. I love these special edition ones. I just wish that Probably Smut would include a synopsis page on the inside, but they don't. Okay, next up, let's see. Okay, this one is from The Bright Side Candles. And there's no synopsis. See, and that's the problem. I wish whoever, not only Probably Smut, but anyone that does a special edition, I just wish, if it's not going to have the synopsis on the back, I wish it would have the synopsis page on the inside. This one is called Double Pucked by Lauren Blakely. And so I'll just read the synopsis, the quote that's on the back. Again, this one's from The Bright Side Candles. And I love, so you have hockey images, so a stick, there's a puck somewhere on there, and then there's paw prints along the rest. A jilted book nerd, a plan for sweet revenge, and the 2 hockey studs who volunteer as her tributes. I think this one's a Why Choose. Okay, next up from The Bright Side Candles. Again, no synopsis. Now this one is a duology, and so I think, yeah, so both of the books are in this one. The sprayed edges are dark, so you can't really see, but it's like roses, dark roses, and butterflies. So yeah, it's like way hard to see. This is a duology, so there's 2 books in here, and it's called the Shattered Safety Duology. Book number 1 is, let's see, Untouchable. And book 2 is in here as well. And I don't remember what it's called, and I'm trying to find it. I don't know. Anyway, so there's 2 books in this one. Both of them, it is a duology, so Shattered Safety by Mary Rose. And then the quote on the back says, "She thought he couldn't touch her. He thought he could break her." And the ones from The Bright Side I ordered like in June or July, and they arrived this month in October. So these have been special ordered for a while. Okay. Also from The Bright Side is, and these all came in one box, Fuckboys in Flannel by Rory Ireland and Tate Monroe. and then it's just dark sprayed edges. It's like black and gray with black feathers on top. So, and then the quote on the back says, "Open those eyes, Spitfire. We want you to remember the one and only time a raven has ever bent to your will. We'll give you whatever you want because you're ours now. Ours to toy with, ours to take care of, ours to fuck, ours to love." Okay, and this next one is this one. And the quote on the back is, "The world thought he was a god, but I knew the truth." And this one's a music, so it's got some stenciled music notes, a music romance, and it's called The Words by A. Jade. And I can show you, not under like the dust jacket because it is not, it's considered not safe for work, so I'm not going to show you that in this video. But this is without the dust jacket. I breathe you in and bleed you out. Some of those were bought and paid for in like June or July, and they just shipped later. Okay, next up, I'm going to show you, let's do my pre-orders. Now, one of the pre-orders you did see earlier, and it's that one by Sarah Anderson, Adulthood is a Gift. Okay, so I have 3 pre-orders that have come in, and this one is book number 4. Yes, this is book number 4 in a graphic novel series, and that is Katie the Cat Sitter, The Perfect Plan. And this is a middle grade series. Katie is rocking 7th grade and being a superhero sidekick. So when a new threat puts the whole city, including Katie's own home, in danger, she's ready to spring into action. She'll just need one super secret plan, a little help from her friends, okay, a lot of help, an invitation to the city's fanciest party, 217 highly trained cats, and maybe an elephant. Easy peasy, right? Can Katie pull off the plan of the century and, uh-oh, is someone onto her secret identity? And that's a fun one, a bunch of cats in that. This next one was a pre-order solely based on the cover, and this one is Bull Moon Rising by Ruby Dixon. And it's the sprayed edges that got me. Under the dust jacket, there's nothing on the dust jacket, but that's the naked cover. And then the art print and pages. And it's the same on the back. As a holder's daughter, Aspeth Honori knows the importance of magical artifacts, which is why it's a disaster that her father has gambled all theirs away. Now that her family is in danger of losing their hold and their heads, if anyone finds out the truth, Aspeth decides to do something about it. She'll join the Royal Artifactual Guild and the adventurers who explore ancient underground ruins to retrieve the coveted arcane items. It's a great plan with one problem. The guild won't let her train because she's a woman. Aspeth needs a chaperone of some kind. The best way to get around the problem? Marry someone who'll let her become an apprentice. Who better than a surly guild member who requires a favor of his own? He's a minotaur. It's fine. Who is her teacher? Also fine. And he's about to go into Rut, which is where it gets tricky. He also has no idea she's a noble. Oops. And he'll want nothing to do with her if he discovers her real identity. Now Aspeth just has to pass the guild test, thwart a title hunter, and save her hold. Oh, and survive a rut with her monstrous horned husband, whom she might be falling in love with. It's time to dig deep, literally. All right, and the last of my pre-orders that came in is the second book by an author. The first one was, is it in this, I'm blanking, oh, Mayfly. So, and I absolutely love that one. And the author is C.J. Lead, so this is C.J. Lead's second book, and this one is American Rapture. And this one says, never been kissed, about to get screwed. A virus is spreading across America, transforming the infected and making them feral with lust. Sophie, a good Catholic girl, must survive the hellscape of the Midwest to try to save her twin brother while the world around her burns. Along the way, she discovers there are far worse fates than dying a virgin. That's the synopsis. This next book I got because for Autism Reads, I read A Kind of Spark. And then I read another book by this author, and this book takes place in the events before A Kind of Spark. And I just wanted this other one because this author's autistic, and I absolutely loved the two books that I've read from this author and the representation for those that are neurodivergent that are in the book. So I really wanted to support this author, and so I got Keedy by Elle McNoll. Before there was Addie, who was the one from A Kind of Spark, there was Keedy. Firecracker Keedy has had enough of bullies and has had enough of conforming to convention. As she sets out to right wrongs and stand up for the truth, the sleepy town of Juniper is about to wake up and see that Keedy is one of a kind. And I believe that Keedy is also on the autism spectrum. And Addie is her younger sister, if I remember correctly. Okay, these next ones I will show you are sequels, or further on in the series. So, now this first one I'm going to show you, I have not read the first book, but I love the title, and it definitely sounds like something I will absolutely love as far as the series goes. I got A Pirate's Life for Tea, and I love the orange sprayed edges. And this is by Rebecca Thorne, and this is Tomes in Tea, book number 2. And the first one, I think, is You Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. And I think this one's a female-female romance. The first one is as well, as my understanding. Yeah, Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. This one says, Chianthe and Rhaenyra are on the hunt for dragon eggs to save their hometown, but it requires making a deal with Darian Arlon, lord of the legendary Nassian River. Simply capture the river pirate Serena, who's been plaguing Arlon's supply chains, and bring her in for justice. Easy peasy. Begrudgingly, the couple joins forces with Bobby, one of Arlon's constables, determined to capture the pirate. Except Bobby and Serena have a more complicated history than anyone realized, and it might jeopardize everything. While Chianthe and Rhaena watch this relationship wreck from afar, it quickly becomes apparent that these disaster lesbians need all the help they can get. Luckily, matchmaking is Rhaenyra's favorite pastime. The dragon eggs may have to wait. So it follows, I believe those are the characters from the first book, so it follows the same characters because those names sound really familiar. Okay, the second one is book number 2 in a series, and this is a graphic novel series, and I read the first graphic novel for a readathon in October and absolutely loved it. So, Something is Killing the Children, Volume 2, and I don't know how many volumes. It is written by James Tynion IV. I think Werther Delaerdre illustrated it, and I think this is the colorist, Miguel Muerto. So, let's see. Welcome to the House of Slaughter. Erica Slaughter may have slain the monster terrorizing the small Wisconsin town of Archer's Peak, but the horror is far from over. As the mysterious handler arrives to clean up her mess and quarantine the townsfolk, Erica sets off deeper into the woods because the monster she killed was a mother, and now she needs to kill its children. Okay, so the writer is James Tynion IV. He's a GLAAD award-winning writer. The artist is Weather, and which means the colorist is Miguel. So this is a horror graphic novel, and it is definitely adult. It does get gory. The next book I did read in September. I think I read the first book. So the book number 1 is Bite the Hand That Feeds. It's the Dirty Blood series. And this book is Bite the Terror That Feeds by Penelope Barsetti. I really enjoyed that one. And it's still a snake on the cover. So this one, it says, he gave me his word and he broke it. King Snake promised me he would let me go once he found the cure, but he's known this entire time and never once shared it with me. And now that I know the truth, that there is no cure, he still won't let me go. Now I'm his prisoner once again. He asks to feed from me several times, but I refuse all his advances. If he wants my blood, he'll have to force it from me. He comes to my bedchambers to speak with me, but I pretend he doesn't exist. Once his hunger intensifies and the weakness sets in, he's forced to feed, and it won't be from me. Viper, who is the snake. Viper escorts me from my chambers to the brothel where his prey awaits, and I'm forced to look at gorgeous and naked women waiting for him. Oh no, Viper isn't the snake. I can't remember the snake's name. Anyway, let's see. His betrayal has iced my heart and closed off my feelings, but my jealousy can't be controlled. I may be angry with him, but I don't want him to have anyone else but me. So I submit to the Vampire King again. And this does get sexually explicit. The first book definitely did. And I am assuming that this will too. Okay, these next two are from the same author. And these are books number 3 and 4 in a cozy mystery series. I have been on the hunt for these books. I do have the second one, and I wanted to get to that one in October. We'll see. Hopefully I'll get to it soon. But these are getting harder to find. One of them I ordered, and it is secondhand, which is perfectly fine. I don't mind that at all. But they were getting harder to find. So while I found them, I went ahead and ordered these two. And then I put on my Christmas wish list because my mom wanted some ideas. She knows I want books. So I put books number 5 and 6 in the series on my Christmas wish list. So hopefully there'll be ones that my mom gets for me. This is a culinary mystery, is the series. And this is by Josie S. Kilpack. Book number 3 is Devil's Food Cake. This one says, calling all book lovers, please join us this Friday as the Garrison Library welcomes favorite son Tom Mortensen for a special appearance to discuss his best-selling novel Devilish Details. It's guaranteed to be a memorable evening. Place, the Carmichael Hotel Ballroom. Time, 6 p.m. It's been years since Tom Mortensen has been back to Garrison, Colorado. As part of the committee that invited the best-selling author to speak at the library fundraiser, Sadie Hoffmiller, who's the main character from the first books, wants everything to be perfect, right down to the homemade devil's food cake she baked herself. Murder was not on the menu. When Tom's manager ends up dead on stage, Sadie immediately offers her guidance and expertise to investigators. But when the police refuse to take her seriously, Sadie has no choice except to pursue justice on her own. With her son, Sean, at her side, her reputation on the line, and a full cast of characters including a suspicious photographer, an inquisitive reporter, and a helpful, handsome neighbor with some useful skills, Sadie Hoffmiller is once again on the case. But the devil is in the details, as they say. And as Sadie digs deeper into the mystery, she discovers unexpected ties to another tragedy as dark as the chocolate in Sadie's world-famous devil's food cake. And this book number 4 in the series is Key Lime Pie. This is the one that is used. It's just a little discolored and just a little bend there, but it's still in pretty good condition. Missing. Name, Megan Burton, age 25. Description, dark hair, blue eyes, no identifiable scars, wearing a diamond tennis bracelet. Last seen 3 years ago in Key West, Florida. If you have any information, please contact the police immediately. When Sadie Hoffmiller's new friend, Eric Burton, receives word that his missing daughter's body may have been found in Florida, he immediately packs his bags. But Sadie is determined to stay home and prove to everyone that she is not a busybody. But when she senses Eric is hiding something, Sadie is compelled to take action. Before she knows it, she's in the heart of Miami, trying to piece together a trail littered with broken relationships, mysterious strangers, and forged documents that might just provide Eric the answers he's been desperately searching for, or reveal a truth he may not be ready to face. Sadie must also face a difficult question. Where is her heart leading her? Onward into Eric's adventurous arms, or back home to the stable and steady Pete Cunningham? If only love was as easy as following a recipe. Once again, Sadie finds herself in the company of some colorful characters and on the hunt for some good old-fashioned Southern cooking. But despite the drama and intrigue, all Sadie really wants is to go home, and soon she does just one more thing. So, and those are all the ones that were next in a series. These next ones, I had to get some cat food because Molly and Polly have aged up enough and gained up enough weight that they get more food now. And I needed to get some food sooner rather than later. So to pass that certain threshold to get same day delivery, I got 2 books. So this first one, and these are both cozy mysteries. This one is Checked Out. This is part of the Village Library Mysteries, book number 1 by Elizabeth Spann Craig. There are no renewals when you're permanently checked out. When librarian Anne Beckett finally reluctantly agrees to being set up on a blind date by one of her overeager patrons, she figures that the worst that could happen would be that the 2 of them wouldn't hit it off. Little did she know that she'd be stood up because her date was murdered. With the help from her patrons, Anne tries to find out who might be responsible in the small town of Whitby before more residents are permanently checked out. And then this next one I got is a 2 Broomstakes Gas and Grill Witch cozy mystery. This is by Amanda Lee, and it is sinfully delicious. Love the cover on this one. It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye in the pie. Stormy Morgan left her hometown of Shady Hills, Michigan with one goal. Or she left her hometown. Okay. To write the great American novel and strike it rich. She sold her novel not long after college, did relatively well, and then fell off a cliff into obscurity. Now, without a book contract, she's back at her family restaurant in a one-spotlight town, and she's convinced things couldn't possibly get worse. That feeling only lasts until her first shift, when, on a trip to the storage building behind the restaurant, she literally trips over a body. Roy Axe, Shadow Hill's most hated axe hole, died a hard death, only feet from the restaurant and the second-floor apartment Stormy currently resides in. The detective on the case is none other than Hunter Ryan, Stormy's high school boyfriend, and the man who occasionally still calls to her in dreams. Hunter only cares about solving a mystery, nothing else, so their reunion is tense. In an attempt to distract herself from what's happening, Stormy and her cousin Alice get drunk one night and pull out their great-grandmother's old Ouija board. And it sets off a strange string of events, most of which seem magical, if you believe in that sort of thing, and Stormy isn't sure she does. Stormy has trouble deciding which problem to focus on, so she avoids them all, until things start blowing up in her face. Shadow Hills is a small town, but the secrets that plague it run deep. Stormy is a woman, or maybe a witch, lost in a sea of magic and despair, but murder might just lead her out of it. That is, if she can survive to solve the case that is. Okay, so these next 5 books, I have made a list, and I don't know where my notebook went. I've got to find it. But I have a notebook sitting around of the countries in the world, and I want to read books set in that country. I'm going to go alphabetical. So this first one is, I believe it is Afghanistan, I want to say. So I've got 5 books. All but one is from Thrift Books. So these 4 are from Thrift Books. This one is from Amazon. I did look on Thrift Books. It's not available. So let's go with this one first. And this is The Little Coffee Shop of Kabul. So I wanted to get books, preferably by people that have lived in Afghanistan or currently live in Afghanistan. So some of these are by people that live in America but were born and raised in Afghanistan and have immigrated to America. Some people have lived in one of them has lived in Afghanistan for several years and now lives in Mexico, a Spanish-speaking country. It may be Spain, could be Portugal, something, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so The Little Coffee Shop of Kabul by Deborah Rodriguez. After hard luck and heartbreak, Sunny finally finds a place to call home in the middle of Afghanistan war zone. So I was correct, it is Afghanistan. Okay. There, the 38-year-old serves up her American hospitality to the expats who patronize her coffee shop, including a British journalist, a danger pay consultant, and a wealthy and well-connected woman. True to her name, Sunny also bonds with people whose language and landscape are unfamiliar to most Westerners, but whose hearts and souls are very much like our own. The maternal Halajan, who vividly recalls the days before the Taliban and now must hide in modern romance from her ultra-traditional son, and Yasmina, a young Afghan villager with a secret that could put everyone's life in jeopardy. In this Okay, so this is first novel by the author. So let me see. I want to see if, where is the about the author? Because I want to see which one is, okay. Hairdresser, motivational speaker, spent 5 years. Okay, so this is, I think she's the one that it says she spent 5 years teaching at and later directing at the Kabul Beauty School, the first modern beauty academy and training salon in Afghanistan. Rodriguez also owned the Oasis Salon and co-owned the Kabul Coffee House. She currently lives and owns a boutique spa tippy toes in, I can't say that city name, Mazatlan. I don't know, but it is in Mexico. So she did at one point live in Afghanistan. I better stop stacking on that one and start another pile. Okay, this next one is The Pearl That Broke Its Shell by Nadia Hashimi. And let's see. Okay, Nadia Hashimi's parents left Afghanistan in the 1970s before the Soviet invasion. She was raised in the United States and in 2002 visited Afghanistan for the first time with her parents. So I still qualify her because she is an Afghan American. So her parents immigrated and she was born and raised in the US. Okay. So The Pearl That Broke Its Shell. Kabul, 2007. The Taliban rules the streets. With a drug-addicted father and no brothers, Raima and her sisters can rarely leave the house or attend school. Their only hope lies in the ancient Afghan custom of bacha pash, which allows young Rahima to dress and be treated as a son until she is of marriageable age. As a boy, she has the kind of freedom that was previously unimaginable, freedom that will transform her forever. But Rahima is not the first in her family to adopt this unusual custom. A century earlier, her great-great-grandmother Shakiba, left orphaned by an epidemic, saved herself and built a new life in the same way. The change took her on a journey from the deprivation of life in a rural village to the opulence of a king's palace in the bustling metropolis of Kabul. This next one I have is 99 Nights in Lagar by Jamil Jan Kochai. I'm sure I said that wrong. I apologize. Let's see. Jamal was born in Pakistan and grew up in the United States. Okay. So, there you go. 12-year-old Marwan's memories from his previous visit to Afghanistan 6 years ago center on his contentious relationship with Budabash. I'm sure I said that wrong. I'm sorry. The terrifying but beloved dog who guards his extended family's compound in the rural village of Lagar. But eager for an ally in this place that is meant to be home, Marwan misreads his reunion with the dog and approaches Budapest the way he would any pet on his American suburban block, and the results are disastrous. Marwan loses a finger and Budapest escapes into the night. Marwan is not chastened and doubles down on his desire to fit in here. He must get the dog back, and the resulting search is gripping and vivid adventure story, a lyrical, funny, and surprisingly tender coming-of-age journey across contemporary Afghanistan that blends the bravado and vulnerability of a boy's teenage years with a homage to familial and tradition and calls to mind 1001 nights, yet speaks with a voice all its own. Okay, and I think I'll start this reading from the countries probably in January. So I would like to read these books and then I'll come and say these are what I recommend them, and all of that type of thing. So this next one is Earth and Ashes, and this one is a short one. This is less than 100 pages. Written by Atiq Rahimi. And it says, born in Kabul in 1962, 17 years old when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. He left the country during the war, eventually obtaining political asylum in France. He now lives in Paris where he makes documentary films. So, when the Soviet army arrives in Afghanistan, the elderly Dastagur witnesses the destruction of his village and the death of his clan. His young grandson, Yasin, deaf from the sounds of the bombing, is one of the few survivors. The two set out through an unforgiving landscape, searching for the coal mine where Murad, the old man's son and the boy's father, works. They reach their destination only to learn that they must wait and rely for help on all that remains to them: a box of chewing tobacco, some unripe apples, and the kindness of strangers. And this last one I got that takes place in Afghanistan is The Swallows. Yeah, okay. The Swallows of Kabul by Yasmina Khadra. I think, is she in politics? I want to say. Okay, Yasmina Khadra is the nom de plume of Algerian army officer Mohammed, who is the author of 4 books published in English. He took the feminine pseudonym to avoid submitting his manuscripts for approval by military censors while he was still in the army. He lives in France. Okay, so this, I was thinking of someone else. Okay, so the Yasmina is the pseudonym for let's see, the nom de plume of the Algerian army officer Mohammed. I don't know how to say the last name. Molassoul. I'm sorry, I know I said that wrong. Okay. Kabul under the Taliban, a devastated city ruled by executioners and crows, where laughing in public brings down the wrath of the religious police. This is the world in which Yasmina Khadra, the pseudonym of former officer in the Algerian army, sets his cauterizing novel of fanaticism and tenderness. With an implacable eye, Khadra follows 2 couples. Mohsen and Zunaria are dispirited survivors of Afghanistan's educated middle class. Atik is a brutish jailer bound by a debt of gratitude to his dying wife, Musarat. One day, the horrified Mohsen finds himself taking part in the stoning of a condemned prostitute, an action that will impel all 4 characters toward new destinies. As spare as carved bone and filled with images that explode like bombs, The Swallows of Kabul is a work of haunting power. It definitely sounds like that. So, yeah. This next stack, these are books that I did grief shopping for. So, for those of you, a lot of you know, my grandma passed away at the start of October. This is my paternal grandma. So my maternal grandma passed away last year. My paternal grandma this year. So my dad's mom. My grandma loved to do puzzles, and I have a bunch of puzzles to do, and she liked to read. And she liked romance books, what I was able to gather from my uncle. Romance books, but clean, and preferably those that may have a religious element in it. So rather than going to Barnes & Noble, although I do have some books from there, I went to a place called Deseret Book. This is a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints owned bookstore. They do have fiction books, but I went there because I know that the books that will be in there, especially the ones that are romance, will be clean. So nothing sexually explicit in those at all. Nothing, as far as I know, explicitly gory as well. So if you're wanting clean romance, Deseret Book would be a good place to check out. I don't know if all of these authors are a member of the church or not. It doesn't matter. Some of these might be classified as Christian fiction, others may not, or LDS fiction or not. That I don't know. I don't care. I just wanted romance books that I knew would be clean. Whereas if I go to Barnes & Noble, who knows until I read the book, unless I can tell from the back or know and have read from the author if it will be sexually explicit or not. But I wanted to make sure and be 100% positive that these would be clean. So sex-free, of course it's going to have lusting, but sex-free books. And so I went to a religious-owned store because I knew it would be sex-free. Okay, so I have some books here. And this first one I will show you is A Match in the Making. And this is book number 1 in The Matchmakers by Jen Turano. Miss Gwendolyn Brindley accepted a temporary paid companion position for the Newport summer season, believing it would be a lark to spend the summer in America's most exclusive town. She suddenly finds her summer turning anything but amusing when her employer expects her to take over responsibilities as an assistant matchmaker. Tasked with the daunting prospect of attaining adventurous matches for her clients, Gwendolyn soon finds herself in the employ of Mr. Walter Townsend, the catch of the season, but a gentleman Gwendolyn finds beyond irritating. Walter Townsend is reluctantly in search of a wife for the sake of his unruly motherless children who cannot keep a governess for long. What he wasn't expecting was Miss Brinley, an amateur matchmaker who turns his quest for a new wife into a complete and utter debacle. Constantly besieged by society ladies on a mission to win his affection, Walter must find a way to overcome their inundating attention and his unexpected attraction towards Gwendolen. The more time they spend together throughout the Newport season, the harder it is for Gwendolen to find Walter a wife when she realizes his perfect match might be her. So, and side note, if you ever want to visit Deseret Books' website, or I'll try and remember to link that in the description box, or actually go to a Deseret bookstore where you know the romances will be clean. You do not need to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or Mormon or LDS, whatever term you want to use. You do not need to be a member to go into the store. Okay? Everyone is welcome in that store. Okay. You're also just going to there is a section of the fiction, and then they have a young adult, and a middle grade section, and a children's section, and then they have a bunch of nonfiction, so more religious type books as well. So those are there too, but you don't have to be a member of the church to go there. This next one is called A Proper Romance, and this was written by Julie Wright, and I love the cover of this one. This is An Inconvenient Letter. I love this cover. For one, I love the color. Blue is one of my favorites. Yellow, they tend to compete, just depends on the shade. Anyway, for years, Marietta Stone has harbored a secret infatuation for the handsome Frederick Finch, and has poured out her deepest feelings in a series of passionate love letters that she keeps in a locked drawer. But when Marietta's private letters are accidentally delivered to Frederick's house, she must retrieve them immediately before they fall into the wrong hands. If the letters were read by anyone else, the resulting scandal could jeopardize her reputation. Gerald Hartwell has no time for infatuations, courtship, or even love. He must find a wife with a substantial inheritance if he wishes to save his late father's bankrupt estate. When he accidentally discovers Marietta's love letters at his cousin Frederick's estate, he strikes a bargain with her. If she helps him court her older sister Anne, he will return the letters and help Marietta win Frederick's heart. Marietta agrees, and the two quickly pretend to be courting in order to spend time with their individual love interests. Yet, what appeared to be a straightforward bargain becomes complicated when Gerard realizes the more time he spends with Marietta, the more he wishes he could court her for real. But can he persuade Marietta to give him a chance when her heart might belong to another man? This next one is a Christmas one, and this is a collection of short stories. It's a historical romance collection. It is called A Longing for Christmas. Love that dress. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, stories by Challen Linton, Jennifer Moore, Karen Tuft, and Aline Recker. And let's see. Okay, so the one by Challen Linton is called Memories of Christmas. It says, Judith Benson despises Christmas and has no interest in the season's festivities. But when she catches the attention of a handsome viscount, her holiday humbug is put to the test. The book by Jennifer Moore is A Home for the Holidays, and it says, as Captain Edgar Bryant nurses his wounds from his time in the Army, he finds unexpected relief in creating Christmas cheer alongside the sparkling Winnie Larson. Karen Tuft wrote Lady Walmsley's Christmas Surprise, and this one says, the holidays are approaching, and longtime widow Lady Walmsley turns to her staff for company, much to the dismay of her very proper butler, Foster. But what began as friendship just might end in love. And then the last one by Aline Wecker is a Gretna Green Christmas. Since sharing a bumbling first kiss beneath the mistletoe years ago, Charles and Maria have been star-crossed, but this Christmas, love might finally be within their reach. Next up, I have Ashes on the Moor. It says this is a collector's edition. I love this one. Also tagged as a proper romance by Sarah M. Eden. Love the end pages on this one. Okay. Ashes on the Moor is the inspiring love story of one Victorian woman's courage to fight against all odds, and the man whose quiet strength gives her the confidence to keep trying. This beautiful hardback collector's edition includes a new, never-before-published chapter in the romance of Evangelina Dermont. So, not quite sure exactly what it's about, but I love the silhouettes like that. Okay, next up, this is by, you will have seen this author. This author wrote the Cozy Mystery series, The Devil's Food Cake and Key Lime Pie, these two books that I showed you. But she has a proper romance out as well, and this one's called The Valet's Secret. So Josie S. Kilpack. York, England, 1819. A once happily married woman, Rebecca Parker had a good life. But now widowed, working for a living, and her only children grown, she feels invisible, tired, and lonely. That is until the day a valet speeding by on a horse nearly runs her off the road. Mr. Malcolm Henry is apologetic, gentle, and handsome. She's instantly drawn to him, which is why, rather than stopping him from kissing her, she kisses him back, reigniting a nearly forgotten passion. But love at first sight only happens in fairy tales, never to an ordinary woman like her. She sees Mr. Henry again and feels the possibilities growing until, while working in the kitchens during a dinner party, she sees the valet she kissed sitting at the right hand of the Baroness. Mr. Henry is not the Earl's valet. He is the heir to the earldom, Kenneth Winterton. Heartbroken, angry, and betrayed, Rebecca does not trust Lord Winterton and refuses to accept his apology. But when Lord Winterton proves he is as kind and gentle as Mr. Henry was, she finds herself willing to give him a second chance. But will he take a chance on her? He needs a wife to help him in his place in society, and nothing about Rebecca's life does that, except how he feels when she is with him. Trust, love, loneliness, and passion collide in this story about a man who will risk it all to fight for the woman he loves, and a woman who does not believe in fairy tales until she finds herself living in one. Next, I have another proper romance, and this is by Arlen Hawks, and it is Across the Star-Kissed Sea. That is some beautiful artwork there. Mediterranean Sea, 1811. I don't know how to say the last name. I'm just going to say May. May grew up following her father to his work at the rope-making factory and listening to her uncle's tales of life aboard the Royal Navy ship. After tragedy and scandal shatter her family, May is desperate to escape the shame that follows her. Despite her mother's pleadings against it, May signs on as a lady's maid to the young wife of a naval captain. If she is going to run, she may as well do it in honor of her late uncle and cousin, and where there is food, shelter, and perhaps even adventure. But the frosty reception she receives from the ship's clergyman makes her feel far from welcome. Heartbroken young chaplain Elias Doswell returns to a harsh life at sea, but preaching to disinterested sailors isn't the escape he'd hoped for, until a captivating young woman boards the ship. However, a case of mistaken identity ensures that he starts off on the wrong foot with the newly hired lady's maid who clearly wants nothing to do with him. But the close quarters of the ship force the pair together, and May begins to see a side of the handsome clergyman she didn't expect. As they struggle to navigate their deepening feelings, the danger of war with the French looms on the horizon, threatening their lives and their love. Okay, so I have 4 left, and these next 3 are all considered a proper romance. This one is by Elima Todd, and this is A Song for the Stars. As the second daughter of a royal chief, Miley will be permitted to marry for love. Her fiancé is the best navigator in Hawaii, and he taught her everything he knows: how to feel the ocean, observe the winds, read the stars, and how to love. But when sailors from a strange place called England arrive on her island, a misunderstanding ends in battle, and Miley is suddenly widowed before she is wed. Finding herself in the middle of the battle and fearing for her life, Miley takes John Harbottle, the wounded man who killed her fiancé, prisoner, and though originally intending to let him die, she reluctantly heals him. And in the process, she discovers the man she thought was her enemy might be her ally instead. John has been Captain James Cook's translator for 3 voyages across the Pacific. He is kind and clearly fascinated with her homeland and her people, and with Miley herself. And I could be saying her name wrong, I'm sorry. But guilt continues to drive a wedge between them. John's guilt over the death he caused, and Malay's guilt over the truth about what triggered the deadly battle, a secret she's kept hidden from everyone on the island. When Malay is tasked with teaching John how to navigate using the stars so he can sail back to England, they must also navigate the challenges of being from very different cultures. In doing so, they might also find the peace that comes when two hearts become one. Next, I have The Secret of India Orchid. Not quite sure. Anyway, Nancy Campbell Allen is the author. Really like that dress too. Really like that dress. Anthony Blake, the Earl of Wiltshire, is in love with his best friend's sister, Sophia Elliot. But his plans to court her are put on hold when he is forced to resume his role as an undercover spy for the crown. A secret document listing the names of the entire network of British spies, including his own, has been stolen. To protect Sophia, Anthony cuts off all ties to her and exchanges his life as an honorable earl for the facade of a flirtatious playboy. Heartbroken and confused, Sophia travels to India, hoping to find healing, in one of the most distant regions of the British Empire. But the exotic land isn't as restful as she had hoped. Instead, she finds herself embroiled in a mystery of a missing sea captain, a possible murder, and a plot that could involve the Prince of India. And when Anthony appears at the British residency, asking questions and keeping his distance from her, she is stunned. She still loves him, and in her heart, she knows he loves her too. But how can she rebuild her relationship with him if he won't confide in her? Does she dare offer her heart to him a second time, or will their love be lost under the India sun? Another orchid. Orchids. I think this one's Orchids. The Orchids of Ashthorne Hall. Ashthorne. This is written by Rebecca Anderson. I love the ominous kind of feel that this one gives. 1887, the Cornwall Coast. For years, rumors have flown that a ghost haunts Ashthorne Hall, but botanist Hyacinth Bell cares only about the estate's one-of-a-kind orchid collection. So it is orchid, not orchid. Orchid in this one. As an independent woman, she is focused on her career, even if it means waiting to pursue a romantic relationship. After all, love, like an orchid, must be nurtured and tended before it can bloom. What she doesn't expect is to be swept away by Lucas Harding, the manor's handsome and charming caretaker, upon their first meeting. Hyacinth is certain this autumn will be the season that everything good in her life takes root. But then strange things start happening in the seemingly empty halls of the estate. Unexplainable noises, items appearing, then disappearing from her room, threatening messages, and glimpses of a woman in white who vanishes into the dark. Lucas dismisses Hyacinth's worries, insisting there is no ghost at Ashthorne Hall, but Hyacinth suspects he is withholding information. Armed with little more than her instincts and her courage, Hyacinth must venture deep into the shadows of Ashthorne Hall to uncover the truth Lucas is keeping secret before she herself falls victim to the dangers hidden in the estate. Okay, this next one is Hidden Yellow Stars by Rebecca Connolly. I've had my eye on this one, and then I saw it, and I was like, okay. Belgium, 1942. Young schoolteacher André Gouline secretly defies the Nazis in Belgium, who are forcing Jews to wear a yellow Star of David. André is not Jewish, but she feels a maternal connection to her students, who are living in constant fear, and decides to take action. No child should have to suffer under such persecution. But, and that is so true. Okay. But what can one woman do against an entire army? Ida Storeno is a Jewish woman who works with a clandestine resistance group tasked with hiding children from the Gestapo. She recruits André because her Aryan appearance can provide a crucial security measures for their efforts. André agrees to join and begins working immediately by adopting a code name, Claude Foreigner. Together, André and Ida work tirelessly to move Jewish children from their families and smuggle them to safety through the secret channels established by the Committee for the Defense of Jews. As each child is hidden, André commits to memory their true name and history. Someday, she vows, she will help reunite as many of these families as she can. But with the Gestapo closing in, along with the traitorous Fat Jacques, who has turned from ally to enemy and is threatening to identify any Jew he meets, Andre and Ida must work against increasingly impossible odds to save as many children as possible and keep them safely hidden, even if it might cost them their own lives. And I like to think if I lived in a time that something like this took place, that I would be a part of the resistance against the evil forces that were the Nazis and all that. So I would definitely see what I could do to help. Okay. All right, we are on the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books of this video. All right, so let me see how I want to do this. Okay, let's just do this hardback one first. So this one was at the front of, and these are all from Barnes & Noble. So my mom wanted to go to Barnes & Noble, see if she could, there's a book that someone recommended to her that was one of those ones that it's a print to order or something type of a situation. So she wanted to do that. They wouldn't do just the first book in the series. It's like an 8-book series, so she had to buy the whole series. And so, of course, if we go into Barnes & Noble, I can't leave without buying a couple of books. So, and this one, there was a couple of things that my mom had me order for her on Amazon. And so she gave me cash to pay me back. And so I took that cash and used that cash at Barnes & Noble. So, this first one was at the front of the store, and it was on one of the ends, not on one of their tables, but the end of one of their aisles. And it was a collection, there were a bunch of horror novels there. This one is called Heads Will Roll by Josh Winning, and so this one was there. And this one's got some, oh, there's some extra things in this, so this might be like a mixed media because there's an excerpt from stuff from notebooks, journals, drawings, other books. So, I don't know. Oh, there's a tear on that page. Oh well. Okay. Let's see. Willow's worst nightmare was being canceled, but the shadows in the woods of Camp Castaway might destroy more than her reputation. After sitcom star Willow tweets herself into infamy and stumbles blind drunk into a swimming pool, her agent ships her off to Camp Castaway. Nestled deep in upstate New York, Castaway is a summer camp for adults who are desperate to leave their mistakes behind. No real names, no phones, no way to call for help. Willow's fellow campers seem okay. Her own favorite actress is even here, making a s'more. And did that jaded writer, Danny, just wink at her? But the peaceful vibe is shattered when one of the campers vanishes and Willow finds a mutilated doll's head in her room with a threatening message rolled up inside. Terror grips the group. Campers begin losing their heads, literally, and disturbing past deeds come to light. Is Willow about to get canceled all over again, this time for good? Okay, this next one was on the buy one, get one half off table. Oh, one of these is not from Barnes & Noble. Okay. And, okay, so this first one that was off on the buy one, get one free is by Darcy Coates. I've read one book by Darcy Coates in October. Really enjoyed the writing, and so I wanted another one. The Haunting of Ashburn House. Love this cover. There's something worse. Oh, there's something wrong with Ashburn House. Everyone knows about Ashburn House. They whispered that its old owner went mad, and restless ghosts still walk the halls. But when Adrian, desperate and in need of a place to stay, inherits the crumbling old mansion, she only sees it as a lifeline until darkness falls. Strange messages are etched into the walls. Furniture moves when she leaves the room. And a grave hidden in the depths of the forest hints at a terrible, unforgivable secret. Something twisted lives in her house, its hungry eyes ever watchful. Chasing the threads of a decades-old mystery, it isn't long before she realizes she's become prey to something deeply unnatural and intensely resentful. She has no idea how to escape. She has no idea how to survive. Only one thing is certain. Ashburn's dead are not at rest. Okay, this next book was also on the buy one, get one half off table. No. Was it? I don't remember. Anyway, I think it was. And this one is what the movie The Ring is based off, and that is Ring. This was written by, Koji Suzuki. This cover trips me out. Okay. It says a mysterious videotape warns that the viewer will die in 1 week unless a certain unspecified act is performed. Exactly 1 week after watching the tape, 4 teenagers die, one after another, of heart failure. Asakawa, a hardworking journalist, is intrigued by his niece's inexplicable death. His investigation leads him from metropolitan Tokyo, teeming with modern society's fears, to a rural Japan, a mountain resort, a volcanic island, and a countryside clinic, haunted by the past. His attempt to solve the tape's mystery before it's too late, for everyone, assumes an increasingly deadly urgency. It says Ring is a chillingly told horror story, a masterful suspense mystery, and a postmodern trip. So, one of my friends from high school is the one that got me to watch The Ring, and I had nightmares for probably about a week. But I really want to read the book, or I really want to read the book that the movie is based on. So, Ring. Oh, my stack is right here. Okay. This next one I found in the Cozy Mystery section, and it seems like the Cozy Mystery section at Barnes & Noble is getting smaller. It used to be 2 or 3 like columns. The time before I went this last time, if I can get my words right, it was down to like a column and a half. This time I went, it's just 1 column. So the Cozy Mystery section has been shrinking at Barnes & Noble. I don't like that. Anyway, so I did get a Cozy Mystery, and my mom is really interested in reading this one. So, The Secret Book and Scone Society by Ellery Adams. And that's the one thing about the Cozy Mystery section at Barnes & Noble is I do have to look to make sure I'm getting the correct number in a series, especially if I want to read them in order, because a lot of the times they could have books number 13 and 14, but not the first 1 or 2 in the series. So, strangers flock to Miracle Springs, hoping the natural hot springs, 5-star cuisine, and renowned spa can cure their ills. If none of that works, they often find their way to Miracle Books, where, over a fresh-baked comfort scone, they exchange their stories with owner Nora Pennington, in return for a carefully chosen book. That's Nora's special talent, prescribing the perfect novel to ease a person's deepest pain. So, when a visiting businessman reaches out for guidance, Nora knows exactly how to help. But before he can keep their appointment, he's found dead on the train tracks. Stunned, Nora forms the Secret Book and Scone Society, a group of damaged souls yearning to earn redemption by helping others. To join, members must divulge their darkest secret, the terrible truth that brought each of them to Miracle Springs in the first place. Now, determined to uncover the truth behind the businessman's demise, the women meet in Nora's cozy bookstore, and as they untangle a web of corruption, they also discover their own courage, purpose, and a sisterhood that will carry them through every challenge, proving it's never too late to turn the page and start over. This last one I still have 2 books. This last one from Barnes & Noble is one that my mom got that she's interested in, but she thinks it will be too spooky for her. So she wants me to read it, and this is a novella. She wants me to read it to see if I think it will be too scary for her. So that is The Graveyard Shift, or just Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. And this one has deckled edges. Don't like deckled edges. So let's see, 5 night shift workers, an ancient cemetery, an open grave. Every night in the college's ancient cemetery, 5 people cross paths as they work the late shift. A bartender, a rideshare driver, a hotel receptionist, the unofficial steward of the derelict church that looms over them, and the editor-in-chief of the college paper, always in search of a story. One dark October evening in the defunct churchyard, they find a hole that wasn't there before. A fresh open grave where no grave should be, but who dug it and for whom? And that's the synopsis. So she thinks it sounds good, and the cover is creepy, and so she's nervous that it will just be too creepy for her. So I'm going to read it, and then I'll let her know. In fact, I think I'll probably try to get to that in November so that she can read it. The other one what's the other one? Oh, she also wants, I'm going to keep this one to the side too, because that's another one that she might be interested in. Everything else she doesn't care about. This last book I have to tell you about is one that will be, so sneak peek for Autism Reads if you want to participate. The Discord is always in the description box. We read a book every month by an author that is confirmed to be autistic. So I have found books for all of 2025. This one is going to be for March. So we're going to do adult, young adult, and middle grade. I'm rotating through the age categories again. So this will be the one for March. I will do a separate video that will have once this other book arrives, which isn't supposed to be until November for the YA, and then I already own the one for January. So once I have all three, I'll do a video for the first quarter of 2025 for, got a head chill, for Autism Reads. So sneak peek, this one is Anna on the Edge, written by AJ Sass. So this will be the middle grade selection for Jennifer March. Okay, this one says, 12-year-old Anna Marie Jin, the reigning U.S. juvenile figure skating champion, is not a frilly dressed kind of kid. So when Anna learns that next season's program will be princess themed, doubt forms fast. Still, Anna tries to focus on training and putting together a stellar routine worthy of national success. Once Anna meets Hayden, a transgender boy new to the rink, thoughts about the princess program and gender identity begin to take center stage. And when Hayden mistakes Anna for a boy, Anna doesn't correct him and finds comfort in this boyish identity when he is around. As their friendship develops, and with a major competition approaching, Anna must decide whether telling everyone the truth is worth risking years of hard work and sacrifice. So we have gender identity in this one, transgender, so which I didn't know any of that going in. I just thought I need a middle grade book. This was middle grade. Figure skating, because I can see that on the cover. So I was already sold by that. So anyway, and the author is autistic. So there we go. And that's all of the books that I hauled. Let me know if you've read from any of these books or from any of these authors. Talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I will talk to you later.